We have been fluoridating our water in Tennessee for more than 50 years, but never before has there been more talk that fluoridating our water might be a bad idea and a health risk. Tonight, Dennis Ferrier has the latest developments on a story that impacts all of us.
Joey Hensley is a respected physician. He's also a Tennessee state lawmaker. He is now combining those two professions to make a very strong point.
We've been doing it 50 years. But just because we've been doing something 50 years doesn't necessarily mean that it's right.
Hensley's talking about something most of us don't even think about, fluoridating water. After much research, the doctor has sent out a letter to every water district in Tennessee asking them to stop fluoridating water. The evidence, he says, fluoride works better when you rub it on your teeth, not when you drink it. That fluoridation is medication added to water without your permission, and that's wrong. But most of all, because the National Research Council believes young children are getting 3 to 4 times the dose of fluoride as adults. And now the American Dental Association is telling mothers not to make baby formula with fluoridated water because of fear of dental fluorosis.
And that's big news, and that really hasn't been publicized very much.
Health researcher Dan Stockin believes that this ADA warning about baby formula and fluoride is just the beginning.
The ramifications of this are so huge, I'm sure that the state health department hasn't quite figured it out yet. Because see, once the door cracks, and it is now for what it does to teeth, the next group, one of the next groups that's going to start raising their hands and saying, what about us, is people who are on dialysis and people who have borderline kidney damage and impairment. Then there's all the people that have hypothyroidism.
Scientists like Nobel Prize winner Arvid Carlson and a large group of EPA scientists have called for the banning of fluoride because we don't know how much we're ingesting, so we don't know if we're being poisoned.
There are so many potential legal things about to happen that as a taxpayer, I think it would be really, really smart for the water districts and the Metro Nashville. Look, just if people want fluoride, let them use fluoridated toothpaste and spit it out. But don't go poisoning everyone. Don't continue this after everyone knows all this information now, just because it's not convenient.
Now, Dr. Hensley has already had one response. Spring City in Ray County is going to stop fluoridating its water, and it is that simple. I mean, there's no law. It's all voluntary, Dan, so anyone can turn on the fluoride or turn it off.
Dennis, let's make sure we're clear on this. Fluoride, it is in tea, it's in coffee, it's in water, it's in bread, it's in toothpaste, but it's actually a poison, right?
It sure is, and here's the quickest evidence. Go to your bathroom and pick up your toothpaste, and you'll see a warning that if a child swallows more than a pea-sized amount of toothpaste, call poison control.
Wow. Dennis Ferrier.
We're developing a society because of all of these different toxins known to affect brain function. We're seeing a society that not only has a lot more people of lower IQ, but a lot fewer people of higher IQ. In other words, a dumbing down, a chemical dumbing down of society. So everyone's sort of mediocre. That leaves them dependent on government because they can't excel. We have these people of lower IQ who are totally dependent. Then we have this mass of people who are going to believe anything they're told because they can't really think clearly. And very few people of very high IQ who have good cognitive function who can figure this all out. And that's what they want. So, you know, you can kind of piece it together as to why they are so insistent in spending so many hundreds of millions of dollars of propaganda money to dumb down society.
.66% of United States residents' public water is fluoridated. It is known to have tremendous effects on bone cancer, joint problems, bone weakness, lowered estrogen and testosterone levels, and dental fluorosis, which is yellowing of the teeth and pitting in the enamel. Wouldn't it make more sense to enhance public water with vitamins which are meant to be ingested to promote overall health, rather than putting such a toxic chemical in our water with a bogus explanation that it will improve our dental health? We now know that fluoride causes more dental problems than it solves. Something doesn't seem right about this. Do you honestly believe that these companies care deeply enough for the people to spend large amounts of their own money to fluoridate public water when the people already purchase their own toothpaste? But there's a difference between toothpaste and drinking water. We don't ingest toothpaste. If you go to any hardware store and look at any rat poison product, you will only find one ingredient: sodium fluoride. It is the most toxic ionic molecule outside of potassium dichromate. Now Dannon, along with other companies, have begun fluoridating bottled water. It is becoming increasingly difficult to get away from. And the fact that fluoride is also used in many prescription antidepressants shows that it eliminates aggression and motivation in people.
Fluoride, to my knowledge as a physician, has absolutely no biological benefit whatsoever.
But one of the significant things is that the Russians carried out all sorts of experiments on the people living in the Gulag. One of them, of course, was to fluoridate the water. Why? You fluoridate the water, why people are not as aggressive as they ordinarily would be. In fact, what is the active ingredient in Prozac that is so widely distributed in America today? Why, it's a fluoride compound.
And now, we are finding that public water nationwide is showing up with arsenic, lead, cadmium, and thermonium, which is a radioactive form of lead. Cancer, lowered sex drive, birth defects, sedation, and brain defects. Does this not sound like a wonder drug for anyone aiming to control a population?
It's quite astonishing, Paul, the degree to which environmentalists have not been educated about fluoride. You know, people have an unconscious trust in their doctor or their dentist, and if you can persuade doctors and dentists that fluoride is safe and good, then you're able to reach the rest of the nation. People believe their doctors and dentists, and that was a way of promoting fluoride for Bernays. Fluoride was killing their cattle, destroying their crops. Fluoride given to rats had produced bone cancer and liver cancer, and that those results had been doctored to make it look as though fluoride hadn't caused as much cancer.
The pattern that we saw, it typically is what we see with other neurotoxic agents that are well known to cause a hypoactivity or a memory problem or an IQ problem. When I first presented the results of these studies, one of the individuals sitting and listening to the results, he says, "Do you have any idea what you're saying?" And he says, "You're telling us that we're reducing the IQ of children." And basically I said, yes.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is a very real prospect of a new world order.
It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges for the future.
Question is, will they kill untold millions as they did in the last century? It is not the elite cockroaches that determine that. It is you. I am only one man, but I am a representation
as all of you are, regardless of your race, color, or creed, of the human spirit. I am blasted by the responsibility I have. I am humbled by the knowledge that I have accrued. I do not have the words or the intellect, as primitive and weak as I am, to somehow reach out to your human soul and attempt to activate the spirit of the universe that is in all of our souls. I stand before you blunted, bludgeoned, weakened. I have been programmed by the society, by the peer pressure, by the lust and needs implanted in me. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, drinking sodium fluoridated water. All the scientific studies show my IQ has been reduced by at least 20 points. But the shadow of who I would have been calls out from the grave. The shadow of who you would have been calls out from the soul that is humanity. Your families are being broken up. Your children are being trained to commit suicide. Our world is in crises. Everything is parasitic. Every fulcrum, every benchmark, every root of wholesomeness is under assault because our enemy vengefully seeks to destroy all that is pure, all that is beautiful, and all that is strong. But from the grave that is humanity, I call out and I say to the elite, what a great mischief you have wrought. What a great dark wickedness you have created. What a blight you are on a beautiful species that had so much promise. I look into the eyes of the elite, windows into their souls, and I see weak, decadent people who revel in the raw exercise of power. They enjoy murdering the innocent child. They revel in killing the widow. They revel in dumbing down the tiny green shoots that are children that would grow into mighty oak trees. Everything they are is anathema. Everything they are is counterbalanced against the spirit of the universe. Everything they are is a fraud against life and a crime against life that every fiber of my soul cries out against. It is a great pain to me to see their work. It savages the core of my soul to witness the innocents degraded, pulled down, bludgeoned, destroyed, burned, decimated, annihilated, kindled to flames that only sparkle in the eye of the psychopath. We are at the crossroads. We are entering a dangerous time in the development of our species. The least you can do is investigate. The minimum that is expected of you as a sentient being is to question your reality. The minimum is that you realize you are in a box and you are being controlled and you are being fed and you are having buttons in your mind pushed and controlled. You talk about raw will. the raw will it takes to have the studies from the 1920s and the 1930s, where they knew that sodium fluoride and its derivatives caused bone fractures, cancer, destruction of the kidneys, hypothalamus, pituitary, but most importantly, brain tissue and IQ. And to put it in our water. And to hurt millions of people. To eat holes in every person's brain listening. To take everything you would have been and to destroy it! That's who you face from the cold depths of the night circle of hell! None of this even means anything, and I cover all their tyranny on the face of it. Total tyranny. What does it even matter anymore? What does it even mean? I have been robbed! At the end of the day, I know we're hurtling into martial law, and there's this great wicked intelligence that's scientifically diagrammed and chronicled every single button they have to push to control you to the point of you can't even understand what I'm saying, most of you.
You put me in overdrive.
I've told you the truth. I've told you what's happening. We have a scientific dictatorship, an elite using scientific technologies to dumb down, control, poison you, sterilize you. We're all under attack. Every one of you has had your IQ, your mind, your intellect, your soul, who you are, massively reduced by them. We have our own documents in the 20s where they said they were going to put it in the water and dumb you down. And now you're so dumbed down, mainstream news can admit it's deadly poison and does reduce your IQ. Doesn't matter if the American Medical Association finally gets pressured to say, don't give fluoride to babies, it's in all the baby water. You can rebel as a species, though. You can say no. You cannot just count on Alex Jones, but start your own access show, your own website, your own newsletter. Call into talk shows. Get your kids off sodium fluoride. Stop eating MSG and fast food. Stop eating GMO. Wake your neighbor up who's a cop. There are thousands of things you can do. The elite is behind schedule. Their new world order is in trouble. They admit they're behind. They're trying to accelerate. Things are getting more and more obvious. You can do things to fight this. You don't have to let them just have their way with you. You don't have to let them just win. If you take action now, and if you resist them, you can have a great effect. I'm calling for you to break out of your condition and to become aware of your condition and to use your intellect in any way you see fit to bring the New World Order down.